An IRS revenue officer is the closest thing the federal government has to a debt collector with a badge. They show up, they ask questions, they write down what you own, and the report they file decides if you get a payment plan or a property seizure. In 2026, more revenue officers are knocking on more doors than at any point since the 1990s. The agency hired thousands of new field officers between 2023 and 2025. They are working through a backlog of cases that the automated collection system cannot finish on its own. If you owe more than $50,000, or you run a small business with unpaid payroll taxes, your case is already on a desk somewhere with a name on it. I want to walk you through what really happens when one of these officers shows up. Most people picture a black SUV and federal marshals. The truth is far less dramatic and far more dangerous. Here is the first thing you need to know. Revenue officers do not arrest people. They do not carry guns. They do not show up at midnight. They knock at a normal hour in a button-down shirt, holding a leather folder and a federal badge. They never show up without warning anymore. Since July 2023, the IRS ended the practice of unannounced field visits in almost every case. The officer mails you an appointment letter first. If you ignore the letter, they will still come to your home or business. The difference now is that you had a chance to respond and you let it go. Here is what they do when they arrive. They identify themselves with two credentials, a pocket commission card and an HSPD-12 personal identity verification card. If the person at your door cannot produce both, that person is not a revenue officer. That person is a scammer. Ask to see both before you say a word. They explain why they are there. The officer will tell you the tax years they are working, the balance owed, and what the next step looks like. Listen. Do not argue. Do not volunteer information. They ask for a complete financial picture. The officer wants Form 433A or Form 433B. That form lists every bank account, every vehicle, every piece of real estate, every income source, and every monthly expense. The officer will compare what you say to what they already pulled from your bank records, your wage transcripts, and your real estate filings. If your story does not match the data, you have a credibility problem from minute one. They do a property walk. The officer will look at your driveway, your equipment, your office, your inventory. They are building an asset list. A revenue officer noting a 2023 work truck and 2 trailers in the driveway is not making small talk. They are pricing the seizure.
This is where most people lose the case in a single afternoon. They invite the officer inside, hand over a stack of bank statements, and answer every question off the cuff. Within an hour, the officer has enough information to file a notice of federal tax lien, issue a bank levy, or refer the case for asset seizure. Here is what to do instead. First, do not meet a revenue officer alone if you owe more than $10,000. Tell the officer at the door that you want representation. Ask them to wait while you get a power of attorney on Form 2848 in place. The officer will leave. They will not force the meeting. The conversation moves to your representative. Second, get current on filing. The officer cannot work a real resolution until your unfiled returns are in. If you have not filed for 2 or more years, that is the first thing the officer is going to ask. File before the meeting, always. Third, build your financial package before you sit down. Pull bank statements for the last 3 months. Pull pay stubs or profit and loss statements. Pull every monthly bill. The officer is going to ask for all of it. You want the version they see to match the version that supports the resolution you are asking for. Fourth, know your resolution path before the officer does. If your numbers support currently not collectible status, walk in asking for it. If you fit a partial pay installment agreement, lay it out. If your reasonable collection potential is below your balance, get the offer and compromise paperwork ready. A revenue officer who hears a clear plan will work with you. A revenue officer who has to guess at your numbers will default to the worst case. Fifth, be careful what you sign. The officer will ask you to sign a Form 433. The form is sworn under penalty of perjury. Every number on it matters. A missed bank account or a forgotten side hustle is not an honest mistake to the IRS. The agency treats it as concealment.
Now, let me tell you what the officer actually wants. A revenue officer measures success by closed cases. They do not get bonuses for crushing taxpayers. They get evaluated on resolutions. A clean installment agreement closes the file. A signed offer in compromise closes the file. A property seizure is paperwork and risk for the officer, not a win. That is your leverage. If you walk in with current returns, a complete 433, a documented hardship, and a resolution plan that fits your numbers, the officer has every reason to close the case on your terms. If you walk in with nothing, the officer has no choice but to start collecting. Here is the part most clients miss. The officer is not the enemy. The clock is the enemy. Every day you wait, the system moves your file further down the enforcement line. By the time the revenue officer is at your door, you have already used up half your runway.
If you got an appointment letter and have not opened it, open it today. Call before the date on the letter. Ask for one extension. Use the time to get your returns filed and your numbers ready. If the officer's already at your door, stay calm. Hand them your business card. Ask them to wait while you call a representative. Do not invite them inside without one. The IRS is faster, smarter, and better funded than it was 5 years ago. But the rules of resolution have not changed. File your returns, run your numbers, pick the right tool, move first. I have helped thousands of people get through this exact conversation. The clients who win are the ones who treat the knock at the door as the start of a fix, not the end of a fight. Dean Michael, the Tax Doctor.